First, welcome to today's video on the debit card rental trap. We are going to unpack how using a debit card at a car rental counter can lock up your money, why the holds exist, how long they last, and what you can do to protect your cash flow. Next, we'll outline practical steps, escalation tactics, and myths versus facts. Finally, we'll wrap up with key takeaways and a quick quiz to reinforce your knowledge. To begin, here is our agenda. We will define authorization holds and explain why rental agencies place larger deposits on debit cards compared to credit cards. Then, we will walk through the timeline of a typical hold, discuss best practices to avoid having your funds trapped, and cover an escalation path if your money remains unavailable. After that, we'll debunk common myths and test your knowledge with a short quiz. Let's move right into what an authorization hold actually is. Now, an authorization hold is a temporary reservation placed by the merchant to ensure funds are available for the transaction. It is not a posted charge, but it reduces your available balance immediately. In the rental context, the hold often includes the estimated rental cost plus an extra deposit, commonly $300 to $500, particularly when you use a debit card. This means your usable cash gets restricted, even though no final charge has been posted yet. Next, here's how the mechanism plays out. At the counter, if you present a credit card, the authorization hold reduces your available credit line. If you present a debit card, the hold directly reduces your available cash in your checking account. This is why debit holds feel painful. Rental companies often set higher hold amounts for debit cards due to perceived risk, typically $300 to $500, in addition to the estimated rental charges. Even if you cancel the debit transaction and switch to a credit card, the original debit hold does not vanish immediately. The release requires the rental company's systems to send a formal release or for the hold to time out, which can take 5 to 10 business days, especially delayed around holidays. Meanwhile, banks may report that the authorization is zeroed out or reversed, but your available balance can still be reduced until the hold formally clears. Moving on. This sequence diagram illustrates the full life cycle of a rental authorization. First, the customer presents a card to the rental company. The rental company submits an authorization request through a payment processor to the issuing bank. If approved, the bank places a hold and returns an approval code via the processor back to the rental company. Later, the rental company either captures the final amount at the end of the rental or sends a release message. If a release is sent, the issuer will remove the hold, but this may still take 5 to 10 business days to fully reflect in the available balance. Importantly, if the customer switches from a debit card to a credit card after an initial debit authorization, that switch does not automatically remove the original debit hold. The original hold must still expire or be explicitly released. Now let's compare debit and credit at the point of rental. With debit, holds are typically larger and immediately reduce available cash in your checking account. Release delays are common and can last 5 to 10 business days or longer during holidays. Furthermore, navigating bank support can be slower or less precise in these situations. With credit, the hold reduces your available credit rather than your cash, meaning your checking account remains liquid. Credit cards also often provide rewards, additional protections, and a more straightforward dispute process, which reduces cash flow stress. Continuing, here is a quick reference. Using a debit card at pickup typically triggers a hold between $300 and $500 or more to Risco. The release window is commonly 5 to 10 business days, and the risk to your cash flow is high. Using a credit card usually results in a smaller hold, commonly $200 to $300, with a shorter release window and low impact on cash flow. Around holidays, debit holds can be larger and last longer, sometimes 7 to 14 business days. If you switch from debit to credit mid-rental, the original debit hold often persists until it is formally released or expires, which keeps your cash tied up. Additionally, consider these real scenarios. You may cancel the debit card rental and pay with a credit card, yet the original debit hold remains, continuing to suppress your available balance. Your banking app might show no posted transaction, creating confusion, but the available balance is still reduced. When you call phone support, representatives may state that the transaction is reversed, yet your funds remain inaccessible for several days. This disconnect happens because the hold is separate from a settled charge and must either be explicitly released by the merchant or allowed to time out. Furthermore, adopt these best practices. Use a credit card for rental holds whenever possible to protect your checking account balance. Maintain a dedicated travel credit card with a sufficient limit. At the counter, ask the agent for the exact hold amount, their release policy, and expected timeline. Avoid switching payment methods mid-process, because doing so often leaves the initial hold in place. Finally, consider starting rentals earlier in the week to reduce the risk of weekend or holiday processing delays. If your funds remain unavailable beyond a week, here is a structured escalation. First, wait a full business week while documenting every interaction, including dates, names, and reference numbers. If there is still no progress after day 7, bypass call center loops and visit a bank branch in person. Ask to file a formal dispute or a manual release request. Request that the bank contact the merchant acquirer or utilize internal channels to force a release of the authorization. If unresolved, escalate to the branch manager or executive customer support. Finally, consider filing a regulatory complaint only as a last resort after you have attempted all internal escalations. Now, a quick knowledge check. The question is, which statement is most accurate about a rental authorization hold on a debit card? Option A, it is a posted charge that can be refunded the same day. Option B, it is a temporary reservation that reduces your available cash until released. Option C, it disappears immediately if you switch to a credit card. Option D, it only happens during holidays. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. Next, the correct answer is, it is a temporary reservation that reduces your available cash until released. A hold is not the same as a posted charge and does not automatically disappear when you change payment methods. It typically remains until the merchant's release or the hold expiration. Continuing with quiz number 2. How long can a debit card rental hold commonly suppress your available balance? Option A, 1 to 2 calendar days. Option B, 5 to 10 business days, sometimes longer around holidays. Option C, it never affects your balance. Option D, only while you are physically in the rental car. You may pause the video now to consider your answer. We will review the correct choice in the next section. Now, the correct answer is 5 to 10 business days, sometimes longer around holidays. Processing delays are common, and schedule factors like weekends and holidays can extend the hold duration. Moreover, let's clear up myths. First myth. If the bank says a transaction is zeroed out, some assume the money is available. The fact is that your available balance can remain reduced until a formal release is processed. Second myth. Switching to a credit card instantly frees your debit funds. In reality, the original debit hold still requires either an explicit release or for the hold to time out. Third myth. Only less reputable agencies use large holds. The fact is that larger holds are common industry practice for debit cards due to perceived risk. Next, this timeline diagram breaks down a typical progression. On day 0, the authorization is placed at pickup. During days 1 to 2, the hold is visible, but no posted charge appears. Between days 3 and 5, some customers switch to a credit card, but the original debit hold still persists. During days 5 to 10 business days, the merchant either sends a formal release or the hold times out. After release, funds become available, subject to the bank's processing speed and any delays from weekends or holidays. Additionally, here are the key takeaways. 1. Debit holds freeze your cash while credit holds only reduce available credit. 2. Release times typically run 5 to 10 business days and can be longer around holidays. 3. Ask for hold terms at the counter and avoid changing payment methods midstream. 4. Escalate in person at your bank if your funds are still locked after 1 week. Furthermore, here is a concise tip sheet in markdown-style format. Before the rental, bring a credit card with sufficient available credit for the hold, ask for the hold amount and release timeline, and record the agent's name and store number. If you already used a debit card, keep the receipt and any approval codes. Document all dates, call logs, and ticket numbers. If your funds are still unavailable after day 7, visit a branch and request a manual release. Finally, a quick disclaimer. This content is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial, legal, or accounting advice. Bank and rental policies can vary by institution and jurisdiction. Always verify details with your bank and the rental company before you make decisions. To summarize, protect your liquidity by using a credit card at the rental counter. anticipate authorization holds, and ask upfront for exact amounts and release timelines. If your funds remain locked beyond a week, escalate in person at your bank and request a manual release. Maintain thorough documentation to support faster releases and any disputes. As we close, thank you for watching. If this video helped you avoid frozen funds and stress, please like the video, share it with someone who travels, and subscribe for more practical money tips. In the comments, tell us your rental hold stories and what worked to get your cash released. See you next time.